Chelsea Hotel. It's been under renovation for a few years now, and one day it's going to be finished, just not yet. It's a beautiful building, famous for all the famous people that used to live there. One of the issues was they had to ask everyone to leave. The new owners wanted to completely renovate everything. One of the stories is that they're going to turn it partially into condos. There are still stores on the ground floor that are operating, probably because they had a long-term lease. But it's in an ideal location between 8th Avenue and 7th Avenue on 23rd Street. But it's a famous location also. Here is just a closer look of the Chelsea Hotel. You can see the extensive work they're doing on the building. Now, for a number of years, they really didn't invest in the hotel. The owners didn't invest in the hotel. And as a result, it needed a lot more investment done later, especially when you're going to turn it into condos or when you're trying to upgrade the hotel to charge more in rents. You can take a look down the street, 23rd Street, and we'll take a look down the other side of the street, looking east, and you can see all the stores around here. But it's a very popular street, 23rd Street. People really, really enjoy the street. And those are two tall buildings in the distance, but it's a very enjoyable neighborhood to be living in and to rent a hotel space in. Some of the folks that were renting the hotel space at Chelsea Hotel were wealthy enough to rent the hotel room long term, and you have people who do that. Here's another view of the hotel, just from a different angle, just so everyone can get a little perspective. You can see the extensive exterior work that they're doing. All of that costs money. That's one of the issues. That's why when the new owners bought it, one of the first things they did is they said they're going to have to renovate it because the former owners enjoyed getting the revenue, but they didn't realize how much extensive new work was needed. And you can see they're doing a great job. And this El Quixote restaurant is one of those restaurants that has a long-term lease. There's other businesses here that have a longer-term lease that are still operating. Closer look at the Chelsea Hotel, just to see what it looks like on the ground floor, and then some more of what it looks like on the outside. You can see here the work that's being done, the scaffolding that was in front of the entire hotel at one point. Obviously, this is the remaining section that needs to be more worked on from the hotel owner's perspective. A lot of people don't realize how expensive buildings are to maintain. When you need to spend $50,000 or $100,000 to fix the roof, who pays? And that's more of a rhetorical question. Of course, everyone has to pay, but then how do you divide the costs? And that's why, like in New York City, they have this convenient arrangement called cooperative housing, where everyone owns shares in the corporation of the building and everyone pays a certain prorated amount, versus a condominium where you pay fees. So all of a sudden, if you have a $100,000 roof repair and there's 100 apartments, all of a sudden everyone has to come up with $1,000. Now, that sounds nice, but then there are some people who are on fixed incomes where $1,000 is a huge amount of money. And that's where owners of buildings really are investing for the long term. So they might be putting millions of dollars in, but they know 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they'll get all that money back. But in the meantime, they require the cash flow to help pay for everything. In this case with the Chelsea Hotel, obviously because no one is here and no one's in the building, living in the building, it's a strain on the cash flow. Someone has to be making the gamble that down the road, the payoff is going to be to such an extent that it's worthwhile digging into your pockets and coming up with the millions of dollars necessary to make repairs, to make renovations. But that's every business person's gamble. You invest now, money that you could spend on yourself, but instead of spending on yourself, you're spending on potentially making more money in the future. Whether you own a store, whether you own an online business, whether you own buildings, it's the same issue. Spending now on an investment for a future return. And we'll take a look at the entryway again. It's a beautiful building, and it's going to be really beautiful once they're done.